Marijuana.
Blake Production.
What's going on, guys? We're gonna go over some pod stocks here. Now, I want to highlight like the significance of this downtrend because it's been going on since exactly a year ago in around February, where we peaked the very top, and we've been marking pretty much 52-week lows for sure, but like holy crap, man, like we're coming back to levels that we were at back in 2017. So it just goes to show you this downtrend is serious. But here is a little bit of good news, right? We have massive volume coming in on the 18th of January. We have 2 consecutive quarters where we beat earnings. I think it's a matter of time before the weed stocks, start to reverse that downtrend and start making some upward movement. We want to wait and see for a clear higher high and higher low to be developed. We also want to see this $11 range on weed here get beat, because right now it's clear that it's a resistance point. So every time we've come up to this range in the past at least 3 months, we can't quite get that beat up over it. So when we zoom in, we'll zoom into the 4 hour to see, but we want to get up over this immediate zone, which is $9.15, we'll say. But this is an immediate zone that we have to beat, really. Like, we have no choice. We got to beat this range, 930, in order to, reverse this 4 hour downtrend that we got going on. So, man, it's hard to say, right? Because I do believe the sector is going to eventually reverse the trend. All markets will eventually come back to their mean. But right now, it's like patience might be a virtue here. It does look good on the weekly time frame where we have this potential morning star candlestick pattern that might lift us up. But overall, we could be seeing some sort of a inverse head and shoulders pattern starting to be developed here on the weekly time frame, where we have this as our left shoulder, we have this as our head right here, and then in the next few weeks and maybe a couple months from now, we need to see this right shoulder get developed at the bottom of a trend, and then that'll indicate that it's a reversal pattern going on, and then we will get that upside going. But this is our major resistance, so we want to see this in the next 2 months. We need to weaken this zone here on weed, which is the $12 area. Hexo, when I look at the daily time frame, is starting to look interesting. We're starting to base, and you can tell it's basing because we've come down to this level a few times, and we're slowly starting to create higher lows. So there's a gap above, and then there's previous resistance up here. This one's a penny stock, so I mean, high risk, high reward. We keep getting defeated on the earnings. I wouldn't be surprised if this name gets bought out by another company eventually. I'm pretty sure they might have already. Someone's going to correct me on that for sure. But overall, I'm looking at this triangle pattern going on where we need to break up over this range, no doubt. Like, it's either we get tighter and tighter and we break to the low to retest this 60-cent range, or we get that breakout and we start retesting this 90-cent range is where we were having trouble. So that'll be indicative if we can get back up to this range, weaken this zone, and then we fill the gap above, and then we battle this $1 to 10 cent range. Things will be looking upward from there. But overall, again, right, with this name, we're fighting a massive downtrend, so it's going to take time for sure. Gtii. So this one is more of a structured downtrend. Doesn't look as steep as the other ones. Like, from the very high, we're down 60%, where some of the other names are down like 90%. So it's just something you want to point out. It is good to know. But again, bullish divergences here on the play. So it might take a little while for this to eventually play out, but it is a good sign to see. We beat earnings on this name. So in my opinion, and we're getting some nice bounces off this lower trend line as well. So in my opinion, it's just a matter of time. Patience for these wheat stocks, because they will get a pop, but who knows when the markets will decide when it's ready for that. Cbdt, I really like Cbdt shaping up right now. Then again, it could be basing around this range, so I'm thinking right here is our new base and where we're starting to set up. And I like how we're starting to get these dojis. We're starting to run out of sellers, it feels like, in this area. So we're going to have to break up out of this upper trend line. That's our main battle here that we want to see, especially for a longer term push. But there's one thing to notice. This zone right here, we'll mark it out. Clear resistance. We have a bearish engulfing here. Massive bear candle. Another bearish engulfing. So that 30-cent zone, 30.5 cents, that is super, super high resistance. So if we can weaken this area, break it down, somehow break up over this trend line and play in between it like this, that would be interesting to see. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but we want to see us move upward and break down the zone. An increase in bull volume is needed for sure too, just to give us that sign that there's people buying the stock up, whether it's institutions or hedge funds, etc. T-God, this one is just a scary name. I'd stay away from it personally, but then again, it's a penny stock, high risk, high reward. If the pot sector starts to go, this name will eventually catch some wind from that sector going off. So it could be a decent opportunity play, but again, keep in mind there's other, I would go for the leaders in the sector instead of going for the penny stocks that have this like get rich quick sort of potential. But hey, there's obviously opportunity in a lot of these pot stock names. The MSOs look terrifying. I mean, again, super structured downtrend. So it'll be very evident once this trend changes. We have a potential inverse head and shoulders going on here too in this name, right? Left shoulder, head. It's going to take some time for us to develop that right shoulder. So that is what I'm thinking that this play is going to need in a lot of these names. So if the major pot stocks in this sector, like Canopy Growth and the MSOs, can shape up a nice reversal pattern, it could be indicative that we'll be getting that push upward eventually. So I'm going to be looking for something like this, right? Maybe leading into summer, we might see the pot stocks get hot. So this is something I might be looking for in the next few weeks, where we come up, create that base, weaken this zone here at the $25 range, and then we get that pop, which would be awesome to see. And it looks nice. Like that would look normal, and it would look also like a very popular trend and pattern that we see in the markets often. So I wouldn't be surprised if something like this shapes up. I'll be watching this on all the pot stocks in the next few weeks. Peace, guys.